Why do we need interpersonal relationships anyway? Or in other words, why can't we live without them? The main goal of interpersonal relationships is for us to gain a sense of community, a sense of security, and a feeling that we belong, or a place of refuge. But when we mix our relationships with our emotions and our expectations, then we have a problem. And simply speaking, this is why our interpersonal relationships are both our source of happiness and unhappiness. But where does this unhappiness come from anyway? When you think of self-centered people, you may be thinking of a domineering figure or an extremely egotistic, narcissistic, arrogant kind of person. But self-centered people are actually really common. It's a process, you guys. So that means literally all of us have been self-centered people before. But you might say, but I'm kind, I'm generous, I'm polite, and I always cheer people up, I'm always optimistic, and everybody likes me. What do you mean? Well, I hope I'm not the only one who sees a problem here. Here's my explanation. People who are obsessed with the desire for recognition are also extremely self-centered. They think only of how much people will satisfy their desires, and they probably think that they're caring for others when they're only looking at themselves. Additionally, they lack concern for others and are only concerned for themselves or their ego. In other words, even if you're trying really hard to adjust to other people and be mindful of them, you're still self-centered because you want to be thought well of by others. When you get recognition from others, your ego eats up all that approval, and that's what makes you happy because now you have proof from other people that you're good enough. That's why you worry about your outward appearance so much. That's not concern for others, but attachment to the self, or concern for the ego and your feelings. Like I've said before, the fact that there's people who dislike you is proof that you're living in freedom. A way of living in which you're constantly troubled by how you're seen by others is a self-centered lifestyle in which your sole concern is with the I. You're constantly worried about how others see you, not how you see them. By now, you might have realized that the I is the cause of all this unhappiness. But to get rid of it, you have to make one thing clear to yourself. You are not the center of the world. Even the protagonist of the story isn't the main character of the world. Nobody is. While the I is your life's main character, it's nothing but a member of a larger community. People who have concern only for themselves think that they are the center of the world. To them, others are just people who will do something for them. Whether they realize it or not is true. They think that everyone exists to satisfy their expectations and take care of their feelings. But when their expectations are not satisfied, they become disillusioned and begin to feel as if they were severely insulted. They begin to get mad and they start to think, oh, that person didn't do anything for me, or that person let me down, or that person isn't my friend anymore, they're my enemy. This is why people who hold the belief that they're the center of the world have bad or short interpersonal relationships. Everyone's concept of the world is different. In every country's map, their country is always at the middle. But on a globe, every place can be central, and at the same time, no place is. It solely depends on the viewer's location and angle of view. But we still want that sense of belonging and that sense of family, right? But a sense of belonging is something that one can attain only by making an active commitment to the community of one's own accord, not by just simply being there. In other words, a sense of belonging is something that one acquires through one's own efforts. If you were the center of the world, you would have no thoughts whatsoever regarding the commitment to the community, because everyone else is already someone who will do something for you, and there would be no need for you to do anything yourself. But you are not the center of the world, and neither am I. Nobody is. One needs to think not, what will this person give me, but instead, what will I give to this person? That is commitment to the community. Each person belongs to a separate community, but all of us belong in the community of the earth and the community of the universe. We must all gain the awareness that you belong to a separate, larger community that is beyond the one you see in your immediate ability, and that you are always contributing in some way within that community. And so everything you do will make an impact, no matter how big or small, because everyone and everything is connected in some way. People are never truly separate or alone from communities, and can't be. So today, my advice is don't get attached to one community. There is a larger world that extends far beyond it, and we're all a member of that world. If there's no place of refuge in one community, you could always find a different refuge elsewhere. A community that you can break relations with by doing something really simple like withdrawing is something that you can only have so much connection to. Don't cling to the small community that's right in front of you, because there will always be more you and I, and always be more everyone and larger communities that exist somewhere out there. Therefore, don't get too emotionally attached to just one community and seek recognition and approval from others over there, because nothing truly lasts forever. Stand your ground and don't be afraid to be yourself. Always adjusting yourself to different people is really tiring, so influence others instead of other people constantly influencing you. Once you realize how big the world really is, you'll see that your struggles in one community were just not such a big deal. And don't be afraid of your relationships falling apart. And just a heads up, communities can be manipulative sometimes. Friendships and other relationships can also be controlling when you get too close. Maybe you have been altered by that relationship and you were different from before. Maybe you haven't even realized yet. If you've changed for the better, good for you. But if it was for the worse, the person in your relationship is pulling you down. But what really happened? What made you fall into their trap? I'll explain how and why next time. But for now, take a step back for a second and see what happens. Maybe you'll be surprised. Until next time.